All right, hello everybody. This is Rob coming to you today from the breakdown. This is episode one on this channel, like I explained earlier, my prior video. We're going to basically break down videos where the someone claims you can make X amount of money per month, or doing this or doing whatever. So right now we're doing this show right here, which is Jason Lee. He's basically saying you can make $10,000 in 4 months on YouTube. Now, just about everybody knows, and that realistically, to make $10,000 in 4 months on YouTube, unless you have one of the greatest, YouTube channels, you're doing a niche thing where there's high demand and nobody's doing it, you're realistically not going to make $10,000 in 4 months. Most on the average, you make less than that. But his claim is in here that he can show you, what it's going to take to make $10,000 a month.
You the same advice.
And we
that
can
we've
listen to
heard
him here a
many
little bit.
times about just being consistent or posting every day, because that's actually terrible advice. Look, I've got this channel
Be
monetized
consistent,
in
post
30
every
days,
day.
and the channel is
Who has
now
the time to
bringing me
post
more
every
than
day?
6 figures. But here's the thing: 97% of YouTube channels don't make money. And if you're following that generic advice that everyone gives, you're basically going to join that statistic. But in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what I would do if I had to start over
Yeah.
from zero today.
He's
And I'm
gonna
going to
show
show
us
you
what to
this one
do.
approach
Basically, he
that's
doesn't show
working
you.
better than anything right now. And it's actually the opposite of what most creators are doing. Now, this is not going to be one of those feel good motivational videos where everything sounds easy, because it's not. But if you stick with me, you're going to learn the actual steps to properly grow your channel and make your first $10,000 a month, even with a small audience. Now, the first step is deciding whether to go broad or go niche
So
with
now,
your
if you
channel.
go
And
broad and you go
honestly, I used to
niche, let me
get
pause
confused.
it here. Broad is you're gonna be realistically competing with thousands of other people trying to do the same thing. Unless you have the world's greatest thumbnail, world's greatest catching title, you're not going to get anywhere near this. Now, if you go a niche, like I was saying earlier, what niche are you going to go into? Right now, there's very little, if at all, something that hasn't have a video on it. There's no niches that are not being done. Now, you could probably use, AI to try and assist you with finding niches to do, but I'm guaranteeing somebody else is already doing it. So let's get back to his video.
By this as well, because you'll see a lot of creators, sometimes they go broad, sometimes they go niche. But here's what I actually found out: it actually doesn't matter if you go broad or niche, because what actually matters is that all your content is made for the same person. And so as long as you're always talking to one specific type of person, it doesn't really matter.
So again, okay, you're going to go one person in a broad niche, or not broad at all. So that you're going to have to find over 1,000 of that one person, and have those 1,000 people or less watch your videos for a total of 4,000 hours before you even get monetized, where you start making money from YouTube ads. Let's get back to it.
If you go broad or niche. And I'm going to prove this to you. So if you look at this channel, Rory Ohama, she's got more than 1 million subscribers. I'm a big fan, by the way. If you look at her channel, she makes videos about ADHD, how to start a YouTube channel, how to focus. It seems like she's covering many different topics. And
I'm sure if you do a look on YouTube, how many people are doing videos on ADHD, there's going to be a lot.
all over the place, right? But she's got a successful channel. And then you have someone like Nisha here, who's just talking about one thing, which is personal finance, very focused on this topic. And she's crushing it too. Now, here's the key. With Ruri, yes, she talks about all different topics, but they're all made for the same person. Someone who maybe has ADHD and wants to build something online and maybe struggling with focus.
So what he's talking about, made by the same person, is like you, or like right now you're watching me. Or if I used a faceless YouTube video, which again, that's just blowing up with all the AIs out there. So good luck in trying to make yourself or get some kind of faceless video. Or again, if you're doing this for, like I am right now, there's no way I'm going to create 3 videos a day. I think that's what he said, and try to do this with a normal 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 job. This isn't going to happen.
right? And all of her content helps that one specific person. And with Nisha here, she's talking about one specific person as well, someone who wants to learn about money and building wealth. So instead of being confused, am I too broad? Am I too narrow? Just ask yourself, who exactly am I trying to help? And then you want to make content that helps that person with whatever that they're struggling with. Now, I think that one of the easiest ways to come up with video topics is to think about yourself a couple of years ago. What were you dealing with? What did you wish someone would teach you? So that version of yourself is actually your audience.
To me, it sounded like you need to start like a self-help video or some kind of coaching video. Good luck on finding somebody who's not doing that.
Here's the next thing that I got to tell you. And this is probably going to sound like we're always talking about money. But if you're starting a YouTube channel to make money, you have to run it like a business from day one. Not after you have 10K subscribers or 100K subscribers, but from day one. And I know everybody says follow your passion and the money will follow. But here's what really happens when you follow that advice. So I remember back then when I started YouTube about 7 years ago, I made content about whatever I felt like making, whatever is interesting to me, right? What I'm having for breakfast. Sometimes I just talk about cycling.
Let's back up a little bit. I want to see how many. When did he say when he first started making YouTube videos?
Back then when I started YouTube, about 7 money will follow. But here's what really happens when you follow that advice. So I remember back then when I started YouTube about 7 years ago, I made content
Okay,
about
7 years ago. So he on social or oh my god, there's a video or there's a YouTube or what channel that Social Blade. Sorry, he started in October of 2022. Just so you know.
whatever I felt like making, whatever is interesting to me, right? What I'm having for breakfast. Sometimes I just talk about cycling, sometimes just random ideas that popped into my head. And I see so many creators do this as well, basically focusing everything on them, the creator. And I learned this the hard way.
What if your website's success was only limited by one single thing? Privacy regulations.
People don't actually care about you. They care about themselves. They're watching your videos to see if you can solve their problems. Because you want to ask what problems can your videos solve for them, right? Because once you begin to solve problems for your audience, you can now build products, you can build services that can help people solve that problem even better. And without this, you don't have a business, but you have a hobby. Now, look, if you're running YouTube as a hobby, that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But if your ultimate goal is to actually make money from your YouTube channel, this is what you need to think about. So instead of asking, what am I passionate about? You want to ask, what problems can I solve that people actually,
which is every other person on YouTube doing the same thing,
pay for? And once I realized this, I looked at other creators in my niche to see what products, what services are they selling, right? And I made a plan for myself for what I was going to offer. And fast forward when I started this channel, when I had only 5K subscribers, I made $30,000 in a single month selling a 97-day product. So when you start planning in advance like this, you will have a clear road.
He does make money selling the digital projects. I will give you that. But what he makes from the YouTube channel is about $700 a month. And you can go look him up on that website.
Map and a goal in mind. So you're not just creating videos blindly without any direction, but every piece of content you make is working towards something. Now, here's what you're probably thinking. What am I supposed to sell? I don't have anything. So here's the thing. You don't need to have something ready right now. You just need to plan and understand what you're going to build. To give you some ideas, you basically have three main options. So first, digital services. So this is probably one of the easiest places to start.
And everybody and their mother is doing something, selling something on digital services. So again, your competition is going to be high. Your return on making an income, it's going to take time.
It's basically doing work for other people online. So if you're good at social media, for example, you could probably make content about social media tips, and then you want to offer to manage account.
And nobody else is reaching out to do this either, just by the way.
For other local businesses, or maybe if you're good with writing, make content about writing and then offer copywriting services. So basically you want to create videos to show what you know, and then you want to offer a service to do it for other people. Second, you got digital products. So these are things like courses, ebooks, templates, guides. And
yeah, good luck on the ebooks there. Like I said in my prior videos, I sold on Amazon, KDP, Ingram Spark. There's a couple other ones I sold on. I never made any money that's notable to where I could actually do it for a full-time job. I produced coloring books. I produced um, informational guides on accounting, on basically all kinds of accounting, cooking, drawing. And I think in my best month, I probably made $500. Courses, again, you're going to have that 1 in a million course because there's everybody and their mother's making it. And templates, good luck on that. If he's going to say sell them on Etsy or eBay, never going to make any money.
And the beauty of digital products is that you create them once and you can sell them infinitely, right? You don't
The key word is sell.
need to manually fulfill every order that comes in. Now, the third one is the hybrid approach. So you can combine both your services and products to make even more money. So I have a $300 course that teaches my systems, but I also offer one-on-one coaching for those people who want personal help. The same knowledge, but some people want to learn on their own.
Yeah, I would spend $300 to learn stuff like this on how you can possibly try and make $10,000 in 4 months. Good luck on that. $300 throwing it down the drain.
And other people want me to work directly with them. Now, here's what's really encouraging about all this. You don't need 1 million subscribers to make six figures on YouTube. And there's this concept by Kevin Kelly called 1,000 true fans. So the idea is simple. You only need 1,000 people who will buy anything that you create. So in order to make 100K a year, you just need 1,000 people who really trust you and they spend $100 with you in a year, and you'll be making six figures. Now, you might be
That is possible. I will give them that. If you have a product or you develop a product that people need, yeah, you can make money on it, and I will give them that. So it is possible.
thinking, I don't feel like I'm an expert in anything. Can I still do this? And before I do that, I want to introduce you to today's sponsor, Gling AI. So Gling is an AI tool that automatically edits my videos.
Yeah, we're going to
Saves
go
me
through
hours
here.
of is that when I repeat
Yep.
here.
Going
So
to
if
have
you want
this.
to the video, what if you're not an expert in anything? Can I still be successful on YouTube? I think that's a valid question. And I was talking about this with my friends last weekend, and we found that people are actually getting tired of gurus and
So you can be an expert at one thing or a master of nothing. That's my thought. If you're going to do one thing, you do one thing only.
overnight success stories. Instead, they want to follow someone who's still learning and still growing, right? Someone more like them. So instead of pretending that we know everything, why not show people your journey? Share your failures, talk about what you're struggling with, right? Be honest about where you are right now. And I know this sounds counterintuitive. Why would people follow someone who's not already successful, right? But here's what I've noticed. People actually don't want to follow someone who is unreachable, right? It's very hard to relate. They want to follow someone who's maybe 6 months ahead of them working on something similar. So when you're creating your next video, instead of saying, I made $1 million last year, here's how you can too, you want to say something like, hey, I'm trying to hit my first 10K a month. Here's what I'm testing this week. You see the difference? People connect with that,
Yeah,
right? They can
pause
see the
for a minute. Where?
themselves in your story. And when you do hit that 10K a month, your audience will feel like they're part of the journey. And I think that's how you build a loyal audience. So share everything when you make your first $1,000, or when your videos are flopped, or when you launch your first product, because
Let's
people
move a
love
little
seeing
forward
the
here.
creators talking about the topic of productivity. We've got Ali Abdal, who has millions of subscribers talking about this topic. But there are also other creators like Matt Diavella here, with Shu Omi, and tons of other creators who also build successful channels in the same exact space, talking about the same exact thing. But what does this work? Because each of them brings their own perspective to going, right? So here's how you get to that first $1,000. First, I would pick a problem that people are already paying to solve. Not just any problem, but look for painful problems that people need solved right now. So remember, you don't want to
Unless you find that 1 in a million pain that everybody's trying to solve, you're going to be like the rest of the self-help gurus out there trying to sell something and show them, yeah, this is the way to go. So
focus on things that are nice to have, but you want to focus on things that are actually causing people to stress or costing them money. Now, once you
okay, what's the number one stress for most people? Money or their job. So by trying to say you can make $10,000 in 4 months, he's blowing smoke up your butt.
Find that I would probably create 10 pieces of content around that problem. But here's the key. I wouldn't try to solve the problem completely in my content. So I would probably give them 90% of the solution for free and make it clear that the other 10% is what they need help with. Now, after creating those 10 videos, you want to think about creating your first product. Maybe it's a $200 course or a 500 done with you program. Nothing fancy, but just something that solves that last 10%. And then I would casually mention that product in every piece of the content moving forward. Not in an aggressive way, but you can frame it as.
So he's basically getting you the person the hook, get him to give you 90% of the way, and then if you want to finish it, you got to spend $200 to get the other part.
As if you want help implementing this, I have a thing that can help you. Now, here's the thing. Selling products is just one way to make money, because if you're in the right niche, you can also start getting brand sponsorship deals. One of those times when I say, thanks for sponsoring this video, that can pay you thousands of dollars if you have the right audience and if you're in the right niche. So let's say if you get paid $2K for one brand, which is being very conservative here, and maybe you do one video a week, so 4 videos a month, that's already $8,000 from sponsors, which means that you just need to make $2,000 from.
Which is actually a pretty viable idea. You can get that.
Selling products. And I haven't even mentioned the AdSense revenue from those videos and also affiliate commissions. So at the end of the day, you're going to.
So he's basing the $10,000 off getting sponsorships, which again, right out of the gate, you're probably not going to get one that's going to pay you $2,000 per video unless you went viral and your video got 1 million hits and 1 million views in less than a week. You're probably going to get ones maybe around $50 to $100, which, okay, you can still make, 10 videos, $1,000, things like that.
Make money from 3-4 different ways with the same piece of content. That's why if you're in the right niche, you talk about the right topics, solve the right problems.
Keyword, find the right niche, find the right problem. Good luck.
10K a month is actually not such a faraway dream. Now, I've been working with creators in my own community, and it's been incredible seeing results
I'm
that
not
people are
gonna
getting. Like fail here.
prioritize
So what
his
is the
stuff,
dip?
so
So it's
we're
that
gonna move
everything
forward.
was easy for me. But what most people don't know is that this is not my first channel. So I've uploaded hundreds of videos on my previous channels, and most of them completely failed. So I went through this exact same dip that you're about to face.
Gonna
And
move
James
it forward
flow
again.
in, right? And Brand show you this method that I use on,
So
and is actually a peek into what I teach in my.
okay, so we're gonna switch back over here. I'm gonna pause the video for a minute. I'm gonna bring up another screen where I created a website that basically you put in the YouTube URL and it gives you a complete breakdown analysis of the video, and as far as gives you a description. So hang on, and I'll bring that to you in just a minute. So here, this web page is called canitprofit.com. This is basically what the video you just watched from Jason Lee. See Jason Lee. It's a boring but made me 10K 4 months on YouTube. So again, you look at this right now and you can see build your YouTube channel, generating revenue through ad revenue, sponsorships, affiliate marketing, and product sales. Market demand, 3. You look at it, there's only one. A business viability assessment, 1 out of 10. Doesn't tell you this is a good idea. The estimated startup costs, again, that's just kind of high, 200 to 3,000. Here's the key word right here, key thing. Competition is high. Estimated time to start making money, 6 to 12 months. Earn $1 to $5 per 1,000 views through Google AdSense program. Again, estimated 2 to 3,000. That's if you have a great video and it goes viral. Selling templates present. And remember, we're talking about you can make estimated 5 to 8,000. Again, if you have a good product. So, he's claiming you make 10,000 per month, which we saw if you do get sponsorships, it is possible, but not in the time frame he's saying. 4 months, no. Probably, again, more around the 6 to 12 month range. So less than 5% ever reach this level where you're making $10,000 a month. Typical range is 100 to 5,000. Again, $5,000 a month making videos is a pretty good side hustle or full-time gig, depending on where you're at. So then this website will tell you what it suggests that you do to make this. Okay. Monetization, they're saying time to invest is 10 to 15 hours a week. So, then you got a YouTube partner program. Once you get 1,000 subs and have 4,000 watch hours, here's the key one: join Amazon Associates. So if you're making a cooking video and you're talking about making food, and you use a certain crock pot, you use a certain air fryer, you put those links on your video, and then they buy you. Obviously, you get the commission. So the business viability is limited potential, only because it's going to take a lot more than what he says, 4 to 4 months. Again, 6 to 12 months. But with this website is you could take any video on YouTube that is about making money, side hustles, extra income, something that's business as far as that's related. That's what I built it for. It's only going to do that. It's not going to give you anything else. But so if you want to use the website, it's called canitprofit.com. Again, canitprofit.com, and check it out. And as far as this video goes, again, I don't discredit what Jason did. He makes a lot of these videos, but he made a video of another individual that the other individual came out about 2 weeks before this video. They talked about the same thing. So that's probably going to be my next video. I'm going to go and show you this individual. And he's basically the same thing: how to make money fast doing this and doing that. But this website will break it down. And I'll bring it to you, present it to you on my channel, the breakdown. And that would be it for the video. Like and subscribe. If you have any comments, let me know. If you want me to do a business idea for you, let me know. I'll be happy to help. And I'm not going to charge you $300. All right. Have a good one.